Alrighty, so good evening from the StormTrack 5 weather team. I'm meteorologist Kid Alexander. So I know you all have seen a lot about this upcoming storm system. You've heard a lot of different varying information online, and social media has certainly been a breeding ground too for some incorrect information, some correct information, and just a whole treasure trove of info in between. So we're going to try to just kind of briefly break down number one, what the higher resolution models are now showing. We're getting closer to the system, so we start to have more confidence as we head into this storm system for this weekend. And here in just a minute, I also want to touch on the question I'm sure many of you have. We're also going to talk about, first of all, what the storm system is going to do versus what it's not going to do. We're also going to address the elephant in the room, which is what happened with some of the computer models. Like, what's the deal? So I'm here to answer your questions. By the way, feel free to put some questions in the chat. I'll be glad to address those and talk a little bit more about this. So first of all, let's talk about what we're going to see. Number one, we are in weather alert mode for Saturday into Sunday and also Monday too. So there's a couple different things going on. We're going to see some periods of snow developing in the afternoon hours of Saturday that will eventually transition over to some wintry mix, some sleet, and eventually ice. Ice is the main concern here. That's my main concern as we go into the storm system, because we have the potential to get upwards of a tenth to a quarter of an inch of ice in the valley locations, maybe even up to a third of an inch of ice, especially east of the Tri-Cities. This needs to be monitored carefully, and we will be doing that as we go through the next few days. Like I said, feel free to put your questions in the chat. I'll be getting to those here in just a minute. So yeah, we're transitioning from snow. We'll start to see some snow Saturday evening, then over to wintry mix, change over to rain sometime Sunday night to Sunday morning, and eventually back all over to snow to wrap things up late on Sunday. And then it turns frigid cold, and well, you folks know what that means. So what's happening with this, and something that long-term models did not pick up on at all here, well, a few of them did. I'll address that here in just a minute, but most of them did not. Is that warm nose aloft. We're going to see a warm air layer that's going to start influencing those temperatures, especially in the mid levels of the atmosphere. What you're going to notice as that warm air starts to push in, it's going to be influencing what we see here at the surface. And obviously it's, going to still vary a little bit by location, but this is more solidified, and actually it's going to be a little bit odd. Usually the mountains get the snow first and mountains are colder. Not the case this time. Mountains and the loft is actually going to be warmer. So yes, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. Here's your forecast in specifics. Notice that we see the snow transitioning in here during the evening hours tomorrow. And then notice as we go into the late evening how we're going to start seeing that freezing rain. So, tell you what, we're getting ready to do a couple TV updates. If you bear with me, I'm going to come back on. We're going to do a lot more detailed analysis on this here in just a few minutes. We're going to have to let them do a couple TV hits. Then I'm going to be right back. But anyway, you stay tuned. We'll come back here live in just a minute. I'll take all of your questions, and we'll start looking at the system, and we're going to address what went wrong with the models, where some of the meteorologists, including me, I bought into the candy initially. Here, we'll talk about, a little bit more about that later on. We'll discuss in just a little bit. All right, bear with me. I'll be back in about another 10-15 minutes or so.